Okay, some of you are saying that we're only making videos about the opposition parties. Now, we don't normally pander to social media comments, but it was a good idea anyway. So this week, due to popular demand, we're going to take a look at the biggest dog on the block, the PAP. Now, if you thought that the SDP and Reform Party were drama, the history of the PAP has more twists and turns than the circuit breaker rules. So instead of trying to cram everything into 5 minutes, we're splitting this into 2 parts. Part 1. The origins of the People's Action Party can be traced all the way back to 1949 to a political discussion group in London called the Malayan Forum. This student group was made up of Malayans and Singaporeans who were against colonial rule and where political legends Lee Kuan Yew, Goh Keng Swee and Toh Chin Chye first met. When the three of them returned to Singapore, they continued their mission for independence and added journalist S. Rajaratnam to their group. As the legal advisor to several unions, Lee Kuan Yew was popular with the English-educated and Malay communities but had no clout with the Chinese working class. So to win their favour, the team recruited influential trade unionists Lim Chin Siong and Fong Swee Suan, who were said to be radical leftists with communist links. This would lead to some grade A drama, but more on that later. As this political boy band grew, Toh was worried that their meetings would be considered an illegal assembly and proposed that they start a political party to gain legitimacy. He suggested the name Action Party and added peoples to represent their fighting for the working class. The People's Action Party was officially formed in November 1954, with Lee taking on the role as Secretary General. They stood in Singapore's first general election next year and won 3 of the 25 available seats, meaning that the PAP ironically started out as the opposition. They were off to a good start, but in true political fashion, a power struggle was brewing within. Lee and his Modras wanted to elicit change through constitutional means, but Lim and Fong's left-wing members leaned towards using violence to get their message across. Lim and Fong were even arrested in 1956 for rioting, and Lee convinced them to sign documents to state their support for the PAP in exchange for their release when the party came into power, bearing in mind that this might have been what it took to wrestle Singapore back from British rule. Here's where things get saucy. At the PAP's 4th party conference in 1957, 6 left-wing members were elected to the 12-member CEC, which meant that they had a majority control of the party. Lee and Toh retained their seats, but they refused to become quote-unquote a shield for the pro-communists, so they walked out. Let me repeat that in case you missed it. D. Lee Kuan Yew resigned as PAP Sec-Gen, giving up leadership to the supposed communists. But in the same month, Chief Minister Lim Yew Hock launched a series of anti-communist arrests and 5 of the newly elected left-wing members were arrested. This allowed Lee and the moderates to walk back in and regain control in what you may call a show of political mastery. Meanwhile, Singapore was granted the right to internal self-government and held its second general election in 1959. This time, the PAP captured 43 of the 51 seats in a landslide victory, making them Singapore's first fully elected government and Lee the country's first Prime Minister. Oh, and remember Lim and Fong? Lee would keep his promise to release them from prison, only to kick them and 11 other left-wing members out of the PAP on the grounds of acting against the party's interests. Lim and Fong did not take this lying down, and the exiled members formed a new political party called the Barisan Socialists. Barisan dealt some serious damage to the PAP, convincing 20 of the 25 branch organising secretaries to defect and winning 13 seats in the 1963 general election to become the main opposition party. Anyway, the PAP will continue their mission for independence and saw an opportunity in merging with the Federation of Malaya. Despite resistance from the Barisan Socialists and other opposition parties, 71% of the population voted in favour during a referendum and Singapore joined the Federation of Malaysia in 1963. Anyone who paid attention in social studies knows what happens next. Lee and Malaysia Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman would frequently butt heads on a number of issues and Singapore was forced to leave the Federation on August 9, 1965. In a roundabout way, Singapore had finally achieved independence, but the PAP still had a long road ahead of them. But that is enough for one video, so stay tuned for part 2.